The biggest concerns at the moment is the impact that artificial intelligence is having on Indian tech companies and the potential this can have for current jobs and future job creation. To talk about how HCL is trying to leverage the current artificial intelligence wave, we're joined at the India Today Business Today studios at the World Economic Forum at Davos by Roshni Nadar Malhotra. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Fantastic having you with us. Now that AI has gone from concept to reality and is playing out in all companies worldwide, can you give our viewers a sense of the extent to which you think you've been able to leverage artificial intelligence to the advantage of your company in terms of its revenue, pipeline, in terms of orders, and the impact it's happening on your company's fortunes?
So I think, number one, this quarter that went by, HCL has the largest deal pipeline that we've ever had. We don't call out AI separately because AI is an embedded solution in the digitization and cost optimization journey that a lot of customers are taking. But it's been great because I think that I remember we met last year and we all talked about how AI is still work in progress and proof of concept stage, and now we've got tangible solutions across different business verticals. We've broken up our AI offerings into 4. So we've got AI Force, which is looking at the software development lifecycle and how we can shrink that. And actually that really helps our engineers. I don't think it actually takes their jobs away because there's a large part of the coding that AI can do.
So let's spend some time talking about this. Relative to how much time it would have taken to get a particular software job done previously, how have you been able to shrink it into 60%, what extent?
60%, sometimes 70%, depends on the vertical. But it's amazing because we had started off on a journey last year where we said that we would also upskill 50,000 engineers in our company on AI skills and on the platforms that we were building so that now they can start focusing a lot more on design and applications, and I think that's what they're focusing on now.
And you're saying that this hasn't had an impact on jobs and led to extra retrenchment within HCL?
So if you see across the industry, not just us, that if there has been a slowdown in hiring, it's been much more at the back of demand and not so much to do with AI. And I always felt like 2024, 60 countries went in for elections, 2 of the largest democracies. So it was a year of uncertainty, and I think everybody was figuring out, should we wait on spend, how's it going to go? Now I think, as of yesterday, it's all real, it's all certainty, and we all know what we need to do. I think companies need to know what they need to do. We're having a lot of conversations today where now, companies are much more open to, okay, let's go with our budgets, let's go with our spending. We need to do strategic investments in AI, in the kind of, digitization and upgradation that we need to do of our data infrastructure. So we're having a lot more of those conversations where they're like, let's go.
So you spoke of 4 ways in which you're using AI. You explained one, which is truncating the amount of time it takes to build some
that's
software.
the AI Force.
Yes,
that's
and then the other 3.
Then AI Foundry, which is, again, as I mentioned right now, that a lot of our customers across different verticals have, a legacy infrastructure, and they need to modernize that, and data needs to be modernized as well. So data is a pivotal layer to actually get your AI right, and that is a great opportunity. The third is our AI labs. So over the last 18 months, we've opened up a global network of labs, 1 in California, 1 in New Jersey, London, Munich, 2 in India, and 1 in Singapore. And all these AI labs of ours are connected. And so whether we have customers, let's say from financial services, coming for solutioning and working on projects in our American lab, we can harness some of those solutions for, let's say, BFSI customers in Singapore because of our other labs. So just opening up the global network of AI labs and solutions is also, I think, really going to help us. And then the last is the AI engineering piece, so which is in anything in our ERS business, especially in what's happening now with AI chip design and what's going to be the future in semiconductor. So there's lots of opportunities there as well.
One of the critiques being leveled against Indian companies is that most of them are focused on use cases of AI rather than seeking to be at the very cutting edge given the deep talent that we have, engineering minds, rather than seeking to be at the cutting edge of AI development, we're basically turning India to the use case capital of the world. It's not at the very cutting edge of where India should aspire to be. How do you see this?
Well, that can only happen from the source, and the source is actually our academic institutions. Because if you look at the world globally, the cutting edge solutions at the research stage and at the creating of original IP stage sometimes happens at the best institutions. And then from there, there's a lot of commercial innovation to bring it into business. And even today, when we talk about use cases in the AI workforce that India is creating, we still have to upskill them. Ideally, we would like to have them skilled. So how do you take, now a group like us can do it because we have the two universities, but we're a needle in the haystack. We've got about 10,000 students between both the universities. Our largest programs are in computer science and data science. And after that, a lot of these people go on to work in the best companies, not just the Indian companies, but there's so many GCCs coming to India. And they're working at the cutting edge of solutions and what these companies need. But you have to multiply that many, many hundreds of millions times over.
There's a debate raging over H-1B visas. And my question is about whether you're seeing more interest from highly skilled Indian engineers about wanting to come back into India. Does the debate make them wary of staying in the United States, or you haven't experienced any such thing?
So we've got about 30,000 people in the US. 80% are actually locals. So the balance we depend on H-1B, so that's about 500 to 1,000. The number actually on the base is not that big. And I think the dependency today by tech companies is a lot lower because, Rahul, you're also seeing a lot of those companies are setting up massive centers in India themselves. So that highly skilled talent is somewhere, whether they stay in the US or whether they come back to India, I think they've got opportunities both ways. And today, you look at some of the biggest economies in the world, they are all faced with the very real challenge of aging populations and lack of skilled young talent. And I think India has a lot to offer, and India is also there for you to set up centers.
One of the concerns is whether this wave of artificial intelligence will upend India's business processing industry, the BPO industry, whether it's going to be, sunset time in the BPO sector because a lot of those tasks get automated. Do you see this happen? With what time frame do you see it happen?
So, I don't have a time frame in mind, but I think that a lot of that work is going to get automated. But, so for example, in our company, we used to have it as a separate vertical a while back. But almost 7 or 8 years ago, we morphed it into digital process outsourcing and married it as a solution bundle attached to what we would offer to our customers. So it's no longer a separate vertical. So I think there is certain business model innovation that companies will have to do. I don't know about standalone companies, but in IT services, I think there is a way to do that. And you just have to skill. People have to get more skilled. I think it's not that AI might take away jobs, but it's also going to create much more highly skilled jobs. That's why I said I think it's very important to get our skilling engine to that mark.
No, but that's really where the challenge is, because a lot of our academic institutes throw up people who are unemployable in this current market, because you've got requirements at the highest end of the skill market and possibly at the lowest end in terms of, say, agriculture or plumbing or some of those physical work. What happens to the big bulge in the middle?
A lot more people have to invest in skilling. I think many people invest in tech, and then they say we'll figure out the skilling. I think even in our company, right, we have people who we need to skill in engineering services and AI. Sometimes the skilling time is anywhere between 6 to 9 months before they can actually hit delivery to customers. I've mentioned this before, but last 4 years ago, we acquired a company called Goovy. It's Grab Your Vernacular Imprint, and Goovy just provides data science and AI upskilling, and it's an upskilling company. and we've got more than 2 million learners. And it's a standalone business. It's nothing to do with HCLTech. But I think but it's all in vernacular. So it's also targeting a large part of India who can't speak in English. So we've got all languages.
So basis your order pipeline and what you're seeing on the horizon, what are the key trends that you're picking up for people to have a sense of what to expect this year?
I think people will be spending more in their data modernization, spending more in their modernization of their infrastructure. They're going to be looking at AI embedded solutions, and even now I think cost optimization is a priority for companies.
You know, one of the big debates that I've been hearing at the World Economic Forum is whether these AI models, particularly through the data that they've been scrapping, have reached a plateau in terms of their capabilities, or do you see more breakthrough transformative changes in the next 12 to 24 months?
I think adoption takes time. Even when, we were all sitting here a couple of years ago and talking about cloud migration, and even today, I mean, there is penetration, but still people are still on that journey. So I think with AI also, it's going to take time. And I think, and even today, you speak to some of the large customers, some of them are much ahead in their AI journey. Some of them are also cautiously optimistic. So, as an IT services and software player, you just have to be present at the right time to grab the opportunity.
There's this big debate raging about work-life balance. We've seen the Larsen & Toubro chief executive, we've seen Narayan Murthy at Infosys speak about the need to work 90 hours, that Indians are getting too comfortable too soon, and this is not great for the productivity gains that China saw. We may never see those kind of uplifts. How do you see this?
Oh dear. I mean, as a woman, I work 24/7. I'm a chair, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, and by the way, I'm a wife. So I don't have a number in mind of number of hours, but I think that you have to work smarter, and the focus should be on output.
That's as far as your own lens is concerned.
Yeah.
The question of whether you see the need for people to work 90 hours or 70 hours plus, or do you think nothing much comes out of those many extra hours?
Well, I think there's fatigue, right? I mean, we run universities, we run schools, we also have so many young people in our organization. I mean, they're 24, 25, I mean, and people are stressed. So I'd rather use AI to how can I make their job more productive and easier to do, so that we can skill them more to do higher end AI jobs.
But there's an element of misogyny also, right? Because I think one chief executive said, your wife can't keep staring at you. The other said, if you're 8 hours at home on Sunday, your wife will get bored looking at you. So there is that element as well.
I think they're all men talking now. I'm a woman, so I'm the wife. So yeah, it's fine.
But basically the point that you're making is that you'd much rather ensure that work is productive in terms of the number of hours spent, rather than counting the number of hours.
And output, right? I think that as an organization, for example, in the last couple of years, HCLTech has been the fastest growing in the industry. So I think we're doing fine with the way everyone's working. Yeah.
One is about HCLTech. The other is the larger Indian IT system, ecosystem, and the kind of investments they're making in artificial intelligence. Just as an industry, the Indian IT sector, what kind of a vision do you have for the IT sector over a 3-5 year horizon?
Well, what I think the investments we're making right now, as you mentioned earlier, is in the use case and the solutions, because it's a lot more business oriented. But for what our industry will need in the next 3-5 years, that means much more highly skilled people and much more ready to deliver solutions, and some cutting edge solutions originally emanating from India, is I think we could be much more engaged as an industry with academia, which we're not, which you see a lot more globally.
So are you trying to change that? Engage more with academia in India, internationally?
Yeah, whether it's in creating research centers within the universities. I mean, I can only comment on our universities and the kind of work that we do with our universities. But, because I sit on the Dean's Advisory Council at MIT Engineering, I see that the industry over there is a lot more engaged with
They're
academia.
just embedded with academia.
They're completely embedded. And in terms of use case solutions, but at the cutting edge. So this is not just research which is, yet to be tested. This is real life solutions. And across the board, AI, they look at life sciences, they look at across industries and what it can do. Energy, sustainability, so many of the pressing needs of today.
A couple of years ago, you came up with the Aquapreneur Venture, which is to look for solutions to the water crisis. Do you want to give us an account of what's come of it and whether there are any tangible solutions which could solve India and global water crisis?
Yeah, so, we started it 2 years ago, and we committed 15 million as a fund for the Aquapreneur Innovation Initiative, and which was to find entrepreneurs working in freshwater solutions from all over the world. So we just concluded our third cycle. So now we've got 30 aquapreneurs, and it's phenomenal to see that these entrepreneurs at the back of just getting, it's 15 million divided across 5 years and 10 aquapreneurs every year. So it's about 1.75 million. It's seed money. It's small, but we've had a lot of aquapreneurs who've been able to raise tremendous amounts since then. I think the total is at about 70 to 80 million. There's 12 billion liters of water saved. We've got a really cool company out of Latin America, and it's managed to work with farmers on the ground and incentivize them into saving water in their practices and creating a financial model that the water that they save is converted into water credits and then bought by companies.
Interesting.
So it's amazing. And when I look at that solution, and is that something that we can do in India, it would be quite exciting because, and the companies buy those credits because they're trying to meet their ESG targets or whatever their sustainability targets are. So it works out perfectly, and the farmer is incentivized.
Great.
And that's a platform called Kilimo. But there are many solutions. There's many solutions across the board. Yeah.
For taking out time and joining us. It's getting a bit cold now. It's hot during the day, but it's getting nippy, which is always great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking our time, Roshni.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.